we can ultimately innovate and use ever-increasing valuable technology as we should. That's our history as a people. But we have to, invest in it. And whether it's companies or the US government, we have fallen down as a nation, as a society, in tolerating and in paying for real serious research and development. If we go back to the 1960s and the John F. Kennedy-led race to the moon, and the amount of technology, the amount of research and development that went into the nation, you saw upward slopes in spending. The slopes are all now flatter down. And that's not what's going to get us forward. I support President Obama's statement the other day on the yes, I think it was this morning he said it, on the need for more investment in technology and innovation so that we're the leaders, not the followers. But we haven't done it. That's why I think we've slowed down so much in innovation.
Should oil companies also invest more in cleaner technologies?
I think you have to leave that to the individual oil companies. Some will, some won't. Anybody that thinks the oil companies are monolithic or homogeneous, think again. They're not. They compete vigorously. And there is research going on in the Exxon laboratories today for biofuels that exceeds what any other company is doing. Good for them. There's research going on in other oil companies, Chevron and Shell and so forth, to figure out what is its competitive advantage, what will its niche be to turn the tables on the future, to earn returns for their shareholders. They don't think alike, they don't act alike. They're organized around API, yes, I wouldn't deny that, or the American Petroleum Institute or Chamber of Commerce. But the important point is to be at the table. If I wasn't at the table in the Chamber of Commerce or the American Petroleum Institute, I wouldn't be expressing my views. But I express the same views to Francis Beinecke at NRDC.
Yeah, but you stuck right with the Chamber of Commerce when they were sending 93% of their campaign money off to climate deniers. I mean, you might have been behind the scenes expressing your views. We wouldn't know, but in public, that's what happens.
I didn't quit.
Yeah.
If you quit, you're gone. You're out of there.
Well, you would have had exactly the same result, and people would have known that you were upset with them, which nobody did.
The process doesn't work that way. If you're not at the table, there's no voice there, and then it becomes a reactionary problem.
You said a minute ago that you were a pragmatist, not a theorist, but I don't think that that's really correct. At this point, pragmatism demands all-out grappling with this problem. We melted the Arctic this summer. When you start losing your big physical features of the planet, that's a pragmatic threat that needs to be dealt with not in the long distance sometime far out from now. It needs to be dealt with now and urgently, and not by saying, let's try to keep our advantage going for a while and maybe we'll think of something to come up with next. It means it's a good idea to go do some more research, but in the meantime, let's deploy every single tool we have as fast as we can. And the way that we'll do that is one of the ways is overcoming the fossil fuel industry's unwillingness to put a price on carbon. You guys are the only ones in the world who get to put your waste out for free. You go down the street to a restaurant, kitchen closes at the end of the night. They're not allowed to just shovel the garbage out into the middle of the street. That would be uncivilized. Only the fossil fuel industry gets to pour CO2 out without a price. Economists for a quarter century have said internalize that externality, but always it's the APIs of the world that keep it from happening.